So I think a big objection, I think a big worry that a lot of people have, is that, yeah, okay, let's say, you know, they're like, okay, well, let's say this is a thing, all right? I don't know if I'm totally on board with how it's defined or whatever, but like, let's say there is a neurologically based disorder of some kind, and it's causing some very unwanted destructive effects with a great many people who fit a pattern of blah, 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 diagnostically. But they're very, 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 very worried that, you know, and kind of just want to throw the whole thing out. They just want to throw it out because they're worried that what it's going to, if they believe, you know, if they endorse this scientifically you know, substantiated idea that ADHD is a thing, you know, as described in the medical literature, that, yeah, if they endorse that at all, then what's going to happen is that people, this diagnosis is going to be in this label, this stigmatizing label, this pathologizing label, is going to be put on a great many people who, it's going to do a lot of damage to a lot of lives. Because here's the thing is, when you have ADHD, there are quite a lot of artistic people, quite a lot of creative thinking people. Artistic in the very broadest sense. Like, I mean, literally artistic. I mean, artists. I mean, with the beret and the, you know, the palette and the paint. I'm talking about a great many artists have ADHD. A great many people with other mental disorders also have ADHD. You know, there are subpopulations within all those subpopulations that have ADHD. And it's complicating the other things they've got going on like crazy, and it's worsening them, and it's worsening the effects on their lives. And it is the case that when you have a messy mind, when you have poor executive functioning, or just by poor I mean uneven, or not to the level you would expect, or not to the level you would want, or not with the frequency you would want, or with the predictability you would want, and that you would expect for that person developmentally, according to their age, then you've got a messy brain. And you probably have a pretty messy house too, although not necessarily. There are Jays who have it as well, and they put a lot of effort into making their environments more tidy, more organized, you know, and again, all kinds of people. So I don't want to talk about that right now. But the thing is, when you have a messy mind, then you may see connections between things and all of that. Woo! I say that my head, you know, when my symptoms aren't controlled at all, it's kind of fun. Again, whether it's a disorder or not depends on, you know, if you're going to go into the microview, it really depends on what you want in the given moment. If I just want to have a zany good time, and I used to call this state before I knew what it was, and I guess I could still call it that, ideaphoria, you know? It can be very, if I don't have, here's the thing, if I don't have, and this is the big caveat, if I don't have to perform, if I don't have to be productive in a certain way at a certain time for a certain length of time, as most adults do to have half decent lives, they have to be both willing and able to, you know, to conform to that to a good extent, usually on a daily basis. So this is where the disorder comes in, okay? But let's, you know, for those moments of life where I don't have to, I don't have to be, quote, productive, you know? I can just enjoy my mind. I can just enjoy floating around and having my crazy, you know, crazy ideas. It's really fun. It is. It's really, really fun for me. And it is true that quite a few, not all, because all kinds of people have ADHD. ADHD occurs across, in every study that's been done, medically, ADHD occurs in all, you know, all so-called ethnic groups that have been studied, different parts of the world, different socioeconomic backgrounds, different IQs according to testing. It occurs all over, like it cuts right through all of those different categories. So you've got a very wide variability of different kinds of people who could be having this disorder, who do have this disorder. But here's the thing, is that if you have a messy mind and you have all these other sort of personal characteristics mentally that make you want to do stuff with that mess, you know, and that allow you to see patterns and connections in that mess, what that can mean is that you might be able to see connections between things that most other people just don't have in mind at the same time like you do. So, this is the so-called, oh my God, that's a whole other series for me that I could make, but like the so-called gift of ADHD, fucking horseshit as far as I'm concerned. I'm really not on board with that. Not on board with that view of like, oh, we're just, we're hunters in a society of gatherers, of farmers and gatherers. I mean, it's just bullshit. It's absolute bullshit as far as I'm concerned, and really pernicious, although well-meaning. Anyways, listen, I'd like to have the option of being a farmer. Okay, let's put it that way metaphorically. I would love to have the neurological option of not being someone whose head is all over the place all the time, because the traffic cop up here that decides like where the attention is going and where and what things are going to be executed in what order and how they're going to be prioritized. That traffic cop upstairs, mostly located in the prefrontal cortex. I wish that my traffic cop up there was not a really bad, a terrible drunk who's asleep, who's snapping through a lot of his shifts or has just taken off early and didn't tell anybody. I would love it if I had a choice about that, but I don't. So I'm really pissed by all these people who want to go on about, oh, it's just another variation on the human experience. I mean, anyway, it's not. I do not consider it a gift at all to have so many fucking problems just getting through an afternoon. To do what I have to do as an adult, it's very hard. Sorry, I just went way the hell off track again. There you go. You're really seeing it in action today. Oh my God, as I do this. All right, so people have legitimate worries that this is going to be used to it's going to be used to abuse people. It's going to be used to take a bunch of people who are nonconformist and who are very artistic or very creative thinking, have some wild ideas, all kinds of ways, and it's going to marginalize them further. They're already marginalized. People who are interested in artistic pursuits and creative stuff and very, very speculative stuff are already undermined, right? Absolutely. Yeah, there are all kinds of things stacked against you socially. For example, in terms of the rewards you can get, there are plenty of people around who would like to see you and your interests go away, because they don't see any value in them. You're forward-thinking, speculative, investigational into domains that very few people bother to visit, or if they even can think of them. Those kinds of activities are very devalued already. So I can totally understand why. And why people are worried that, oh no, what if they're coming for us, and they're coming for people that we value, and like talents that we value, and abilities that we value, and vision that we value, by putting this label on it. But here's the thing again, is that it's not something, it's the irony is that the vast majority of people who are having a lot of trouble with their ADHD, who are not diagnosed at all and not assessed and certainly not treated, they're having the cost to them, to their quality of life, is just horrific. And a lot of them aren't talking about it. I'm one of them. Like, a lot of us don't want to talk about it because it's really painful business. It's very embarrassing. It's very painful. We don't, and also the cost to us could be very, very high if we do talk openly about just how difficult certain things are for us that are very easy for neurotypical people who have, the same advantages we do otherwise. So, but the thing is, the net is not reaching most of us even those of us who could really use some help. We're not getting assessed, we're not getting recognized, and we're not getting any help as a result. And that we desperately fucking need. And yeah, so here's the thing. Again, the lines can be made. Again, if the person is having disorder as a result of the symptoms, if they're having shitty lives, they're having chronic, awful problems in their functioning, in their day-to-day functioning, that is really causing painful situations and terrible losses for them chronically over the lifespan as a result of those symptoms. I mean, that separates, that's what defines the disorder, okay? And that can be quantified. It can qualitatively, but also quantitatively. That kind of stuff can be captured and described. So it's not about stigmatizing people who are creative thinking. And the thing is, you know, plenty of people are creative thinking and visionary and whatever, but they're not having trouble remembering to pay their electric bill. They're not getting into fender benders in their own driveways. They're not forgetting like important occasions in their family about people they truly and deeply care about and they want to remember and they should be able to remember and they just couldn't. And then they get themselves into all kinds of hot water and get punished for that, like badly punished. Perhaps even they might get expelled from school, miss out on all kinds of big opportunities in life that all their other abilities would indicate they should have access to. It would make sense, but they don't because of their neurological symptoms associated with the ADHD. So, yeah, that was a real rant. I'm sorry, you guys. That's, you know, again, that's the other thing. We get really... emotional regulation is part of it too. We get really excited about stuff. And it's hard. We have, with the executive functioning system on the blink, we don't have the same, again, consistent, you know, access or consistent activation of certain neurological abilities to sort of, to regulate ourselves. That's another way of understanding ADHD, and to understand the profundity of the disabilities that can be associated with it if it's not managed, is that it can be very, I think, very accurately, and this, I'm borrowing from experts in the field here, can be understood as a disorder of self-dysregulation on multiple levels, and that's what we call, you know, poor executive functioning. So, oh boy, all right. I'm sure there's one more video coming in this series. Anyway, I just better take stock of where we are and try and get it together and stay on topic. I'll address a few more things though today, and then leave the rest for other series, other days. Thank you for staying with me, those of you who have.